assigned to the homicide program. You young men are here because you have been identified as members of a violent group in South Philadelphia. So you are here today because of the problems of violence in our community. You are also here to learn about a new program for addressing these issues of violence. First off, if you are currently on probation for a misdemeanor in municipal court, then your supervision will be transferred from whatever judge you were previously assigned to the president judge of municipal court. If you are on juvenile probation, then your supervision will be transferred from whatever judge you were previously assigned to the administrative judge of the juvenile court. And likewise, if you are on adult probation in the Court of Common Pleas, then either your judge has been informed about the program, which brings us all here, or you will be transferred to me or one of 5 other senior judges, 4 of whom were in the homicide program and 1 in the major trials program. I must advise you, the rules for you are now different. All of us are here today because we appreciate that the violence must end in our community. We are here because we know that you and the people in your group are the individuals most likely to kill another human being or be killed. Young men, the community needs you alive, out of prison, free and making a contribution to your community. The law enforcement agents do not want to arrest you. The prosecutors do not want to try you in court. Judges do not want to sentence you to jail. We are here because we care about you as human beings. We are here because the community needs you. You see, we believe that you can make good choices, better choices than you've made before. So today, the various individuals assembled before you are here to give you some vital information that you need to make these better choices. We all recognize that you young men are influential in your group and in your community. So, take back what you hear today. Take it back to your group, to your associates, to your friends and your family members in the community in which you all live. Now, the key is for all of you to pay close attention. Because the next time you see me or another judge, it will be because you did not pay attention. It will be because you did not listen to what was said here today. We're going to have roll call. We'll ask our crier to call the roll. It's important when your name is called that you answer here and in a loud and clear voice. Mr. Crier?
I'll swear the names that I have difficulty pronouncing. Start with Raheem Bey. There.
Take seats. Thank you. One more time. Thank you. One more time. Come forward. I can't hear you. Spell your last name.
Gillliard.
Thank you. Please be advised that a list of the individuals whose names were called but who failed to appear will be provided to the probation department for appropriate action. That concludes my comments. Mr. Moderator, the room is yours. You may commence your meeting. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Murphy. I'm the Executive Director of Townwatch Integrated Services, and I want to tell you I appreciate all of you being here today. It is important that you're here because you are an important and influential part of the community in South Philadelphia. You can be instrumental in the type of change that is needed in our community, and that is to stop the violence. Stop the violence. Violence in our community has existed far too long. It has wreaked much havoc, taken many lives, and put many of you at jeopardy. So today we come to give you a message. It is important that you take the message. It's important that you become a part of the process for change, because you have the ability to make a difference, and we're depending on you to do that. Before this meeting is over, you will have an opportunity to hear from Reuben Jones, who will be giving you some other vital information. The meeting today should last approximately 1 hour. Again, I implore you to pay attention to the message that's given, and therefore to take the message to our community. The first person that you will hear from is Police Commissioner Charles Ramsey.
Thank you. You all heard from Judge Byrd, who pretty much laid out a lot of what we're going to be talking about over the next hour. All of you are here because you wound up on a list that you don't want to be on. What's different about that is that it's not only you, it's all those people associated with you. So whether you call yourselves a group, a gang, a crew, doesn't make any difference. Give it any title you want to be. If you're an official member or if you're a wannabe, it doesn't make any difference to us. You are here because you and members of your group have engaged in violent activity, and that violent activity is going to stop. Shootings, homicides, really what we're focusing on here. If you get involved in a shooting or a homicide, not only are we going to do everything we possibly can to find you and bring you to justice, everyone associated with you that's part of that group is going to feel the pressure. We've got the district attorney here, we got the U.S. attorney here, we got federal agents that are going to be involved from ATF, DEA, FBI, you name it, they're a part of this. We are not playing around. It's going to stop. We know who's warring with who, who's beefing with who, and all that old kind of nonsense has been taking place far too long on the streets of our city. I've got police officers that work in these districts, line officers, 5 squad officers, criminal intelligence officers that have been spending a lot of time trying to put it all together, so who's associated with whom. What we're asking you to do is to go back and carry this message back to the folks that are part of your group. Now, some will listen, some won't. The judge said we'd rather not lock you up. Don't get it twisted. We got no problem in locking you up either. I would rather not do that, but have absolutely no problem doing it. I've been in this business more than 40 years, and I'm tired of picking up bodies off the streets of our city, and people in these communities cannot let their kids go out and play. You got to walk around looking over your shoulder, afraid somebody's going to pop you. I mean, at some point in time, it's got to stop. So put down the guns. Put down the guns. Because if you don't, there's going to be a very, very heavy price to pay, not only for you, but for everybody in your group. And I don't care if it's a traffic ticket. It doesn't matter what it is, okay? We are going to enforce things very, very strictly on the group, the crew, the gang. Again, doesn't matter what you call yourselves. We're going to do that. So pay attention. It's in your best interest to pay attention. If you want to turn things around and you want to find some help and you want somebody to kind of, give you an opportunity, we can help you with that too. But it's your decision. You're old enough to make your own decisions. Nobody's going to be cradling you and coddling you or anything like that. You've got a decision to make, and I suggest strongly that you make it, not only for yourselves, but for everybody else associated with you.
Next, we'll have the District Attorney, Seth Williams.
My name is Seth Williams, and I am the district attorney for this entire city. I have 600 employees. I am responsible for prosecuting all crimes in Philadelphia. The people that work for me decide who gets charged with what crimes and when, in every case. The people that work for me decide what sentence we ask for in each case that someone is convicted, or whenever someone is found in violation of probation or parole. I'm here for the same reason the police commissioner is here, the U.S. attorney, the FBI, the ATF, and why everyone else is here. We are all now working together to stop the gun violence. I'm here because the gun violence is wrong and it has to stop. I'm here because of you. You are the most likely to be shot and the most likely to do the shooting. Like the commissioner said, I don't want to have to put you in jail. I don't want to see you dead. I believe that all of you are a valuable part of our community. And when I see you, I see myself. But if the gun violence does not stop, then I have instructed my staff to devote every resource in my 600-plus person office to use every legal means we have to punish the groups. I said the groups involved with the gun violence. The next group to shoot someone or kill someone, it will not matter if the victim or witness cooperate. It will not matter if we aren't able to charge anyone with the murder. We will know which group did it. If there is a shooting or a murder committed by you or any member of your group, we will look at every member of the group for any illegal activity, even if it has nothing to do with the shooting. So take this message back to your neighborhood and your crew. We will hold every member of your group responsible, no matter who pulls the trigger or why. Let me make this as clear as possible. If a member of your group shoots anyone for any reason, we will do all that we can to violate probation or parole for every member of the group. It will now be your responsibility to keep each other in check. The gun violence must stop. Next, you're going to hear from Caroline McGlynn. She works for me as the chief of my South Bureau, and she is in charge of prosecuting all cases in South Philadelphia.
Gentlemen, my name is Caroline McGlynn. Like the DA said, I'm in charge of all the cases that are prosecuted in South Philadelphia. Every arrest from South comes across my desk. I've been prosecuting cases myself down from South Philly for almost a decade. I know who you are. I've spent close to a year looking at all of your records, all of your family's records, all of your friends' records. I know who you are. I know where you've been arrested. I know why you've been arrested. And 9 times out of 10, I know why you did what you did. It's called intelligence, and we've spent a lot of time putting it together. As the commissioner said, you are now on a list you don't want to be on. You are at the top of everyone's list. Priority. I don't want to put you in jail. I don't want to see you dead. I felt the same way about Damon Stafford. I felt the same way about Nasir Westbrook. I felt the same way about JoJo Knight and about Jamal Parker. Those are just a few. I hear minutes after someone is dead, and I'm tired of it. Now, if the violence doesn't stop, I will do everything under the law that I can to make you pay. Because you all have lost sight of who you really are. You're the brothers, the sons, the fathers, the friends of your community. But your community doesn't see you like that anymore, and you'll hear about that. Now, what do these new rules mean for you? What do they really mean? It means, just like the DA said, if a shooting happens, and we'll know who did it, and we'll know what group was involved and why it happened. If you shoot, we'll come after you with everything we have. And we will also do the same for everyone that you normally associate with. And like the DA said, it doesn't matter if an arrest is made. We will know who did it, and we will still come after you. So if one of you shoots, all of you go down. If you are on probation, life will get harder for you. You will be home visited more. You will get drug tested more. You will have restrictions as to where you can go and when you can be there. Like the judge said, you may now be supervised by a homicide judge. You may now be supervised by a president or administrative judge. But make no mistake, every judge who supervises you now will know that you've been warned. You were once part of the larger group of people who committed crimes in this city, because everyone is here because they've committed many crimes and are at least supervised for one right now. You were once part of that larger group. Now you're part of a very small few who've been warned and who are the priority. I suggest you take all of this information back to your associates and your friends and your family, because remember, if they shoot, you go down too. This has to stop. The violence has got to stop. You have got to put down the guns, and this is your last chance.
We asked you to pay attention. And so I'm going to reemphasize that, because the next person that you hear from has a very powerful message as well. Assistant U.S. Attorney Faith Taylor.
My name is Faith Moore Taylor. I was born and raised in a community in Philadelphia, much like yours. Not a lot of hope, not a lot of options, but I'm here to tell you today, no more excuses. When I was a child of 12 years old, my 10-year-old best friend was killed because he looked at somebody the wrong way. And I've spent 21 years of my life, both as a local prosecutor and for the last 17 as a federal prosecutor, trying to make sure that no family feels, that no friend feels what I felt. And so it was with honor, that when the U.S. Attorney of this district, Zane Meminger, said, "We want to join this effort," I raised my hand. I volunteered. Because I wanted to be in the room with you. I wanted to look you in the face and make sure that you understood that today, life for you changes. Today, gentlemen, will be the one day that I promise you, you will remember every day that you're blessed to be on this earth. Now what do I mean? They have told you that you're on the list. They have told you that you're a priority. They have told you what they don't want to happen to you. And they have asked you to do the right thing. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about what happens to each and every one of you when you choose not to listen to what our state partners have said to you. When you choose not to take the options that our social service partners are going to offer you. I am here to say to you that if they call, the federal government will answer. Let me say it again. If they call, we will answer. And what does that mean to you? What that means is simple. That means the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, DEA, and ATF are going to join in making you a priority. And the difference is, when we come to get you, there's no more time for mercy. Don't want to hear the excuses. Don't want to hear what you didn't do, didn't know, didn't say. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear you're not with them. None of that will work. When we knock on your door, it's because they have said they made the choice. They don't want to be in the state system anymore. They want to be with the big boys. And guess what? We're here to say we got room for you. This is a warning. But more importantly, this is a promise to our state partners, to our social service partners, to the members of the community that you live in, that if you want to terrorize that community in groups, if you want to call yourself something, or work with other people to do something so that good, decent people cannot enjoy their lives, then we're here to take you off those streets. And the federal system is so much different than the state system. Because, see, we have laws designed to get groups of people. They give us that right. And we're going to use every law we have to get you. In this district, 97% of the people we charge get convicted. Hear it. 97%. That's almost everybody gets convicted. And guess what? If you get locked up with a gun in our system with no criminal history, drugs or gun or both, you don't go home. That's not anybody in here. You all have a criminal history. So you will sit in prison until you go to trial. Let me say it again. You will not get bail. You will not go home. There will be no mercy. You will sit until you go to trial. Now, the federal laws are a little bit different from what you're used to dealing with. And because our job here is to warn you, let me do that. This much crack, 28 grams, no criminal history. What you gonna do? 5 years. Say 3 of you want to sell 280 grams of crack. What is everybody doing? 10 years. What did I say? It doesn't matter if you have a criminal history. Mandatory time. That means you do it. Now let's say you want to sell drugs with a gun. 5 years on top of that. 5 years on top of that. This much drugs, and you got a gun in your pocket. 10 years. Doesn't matter what your criminal history is. Let's say you want to pull out that gun. Just show it. 7 years on top of the drugs. 7 years. And guess what you get? Guess what we have for you for every single time you or your group uses a gun after the first time? 25 and 25 and 25. Hear me. 25 and 25 and 25. What else is different about our system? Because you're special, we're going to make sure that we use everything we have to convict you. We have convicted people for gun charges with no gun. We've convicted people for gun crimes with no bullet. Because we are able to show you used it. So that 5 or 7 years plus 25 and 25 and 25, take your gun with you. We'll still get you. Again, you have been warned. Now, in the state system, and some of you know this because you're on parole, in the federal system, there is no parole. There is no parole. You will do 85% of your sentence. 85%, and that's assuming you don't get into any trouble. So you're going to do 85% of what some federal prisoners call football scores, and then you're going to come back to the state, get violated, and do that additional time. Gentlemen, life as you know it is over. You are going to stop the violence. You. So the message here today is the violence will end. Not it should end, not it could end, it will end. And if you have any sense, you're going to take that message back to your friends, to your boys, to your family, to your community, to the guys who run with you. And you better tell them, there's just one team now. And this team has said the violence will end. Let me say it again. There'll be no mercy. There'll be no didn't have a father. There'll be no mama was on drugs. There'll be no I tried but I couldn't. There'll be none of that. We don't want to hear that. That's not our role on this team. They don't want to lock you up. We don't have a problem. Because if you choose to put a gun in your hand, to sell drugs, to bring violence back to your community, then we choose to use the federal laws to make sure that when you raise your children, you'll raise them behind a glass. When you say goodbye to your mother, you'll never kiss or hug her again. In the federal system, when your family dies, you don't get to go to the funeral. You get to go to a garage and look at them. And that's if you got the money to pay for it. Gentlemen, you don't want to be a guest of ours. But we are willing and able and ready to accommodate you. So for those of you who are young, which is most of you, what I am telling you is if you don't choose to stop the violence, then you are choosing to forfeit all of your good years. All of them. Because we're not taking your case to give you 2 years in jail. And for those of you who are a little bit older, you're forfeiting the rest of your years. Our judges don't blink when they say 57 years to a 20-year-old man. They don't blink. And we don't hesitate asking for it. Life as you know it is over. You need to look at the guys you came here with, the guys you chose to sit with, the guys you know. And when you walk out of here, you better tell them, this is not a joke. We are in trouble. You're in trouble. We are looking. We are listening. We are watching. Some of you know some guys we've dealt with already. You know Mayoshi Sanders. I'm just going to talk about the South Philly guys. You know Milani Sanders. You know Jamal Stewart. You know his brother William Frisbee. You know Terrence Stokes. You know those guys. You know those guys. And you know when we came down there, they didn't come home. And guess what, guys? We didn't take one gun off them. I promise you, when we come knocking on your door, gonna make sure we have some guns. You know why? Because you were warned. Because unlike them, you were warned. This past Christmas, Bartram Village got a Christmas present. After 7 years of work, 7 years, 18 people convicted from the ages of 20 to 30. Not one person in that case is going to be home before 20 years is over. Not one. The game has changed. You can listen. You cannot listen. But when we take you into custody, you are not going to be on State Road. You're going to be in Oklahoma. And if people don't visit you on State Road, you rest assured they're not getting on a plane to visit you. My time is up. So I'm going to leave you with this promise. I promise you that if they call us, we will come get you. And if you want to grow old or die in federal prison, we're glad to have you.
As a community, we also need you to hear from us, your community partners, people who understand you, who work with you, who have lived around you, people who have felt the sting and the pain that has been generated by the violence in our community. So I now want to bring to you Sister Veda Johnson Harrell.
Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed enemy, Shaitan. For you young men that are not Muslim, hello, my name is Movita Johnson Harrell. This is my husband, Yancey Harrell. My job is a little different today. The first thing I need to tell you is that today is the first day of the rest of your life. You can listen to what I'm saying or you cannot listen to what I'm saying. These people have put a lot of time and money and energy into addressing you, each and every one of you. They are not playing. I come to you as a wife, as a mother, as a community activist, and as an advocate for people who cannot advocate for themselves. I was not always this person. I come from 5 generations of addicts. 2 days before my 9th birthday, my father was murdered right in front of me. He was a member of the Black Mafia. I come from poverty. I made a choice to sell drugs at a young age. I had a child and I was arrested. And the worst thing that ever happened to me at that time was spending time in jail and being away from my child. I made a decision at that point to change my life. No matter what I came from, that I could do something different, that I could change my life and be there for my child. The most important job that I've ever held, on Sunday I'll be 47 years old, the most important job that I've ever had has been being a mother. On January 12th of 2011, my life was absolutely perfect. I had 4 children. They were 18, 19, 20, and 24. They had gone through all that stuff. My son did a little stint at Glen Mills, but they had gone through all those teenage trials and came out on the other side. And I remember pulling out of my driveway on my way to work, thanking my Lord for where my life was. At 7:15 p.m. on January 12th, I kissed my baby, his name was Charles Johnson, on the neck, and I said, Charles, do you know how much your mommy loves you? At 11:40 that evening, I got a call. I got that call. I got that call that your mothers don't want to get. I got that call that your grandmothers don't want to get. My husband got me to the hospital. where my son was in surgery. At 12:55 p.m., my 18-year-old son died. When the doctor came downstairs to tell me my boy didn't make it, I begged them to let me see my son. They took me upstairs to a sterile surgical room, and they unzipped a white body bag that my baby was in. At 2 a.m., I kissed my son. They didn't want to let me kiss my son because it was a homicide investigation. At 2 a.m., I kissed my son, and I said, Charles Johnson, do you know how much your mother loves you? And they zipped the bag. And if you're Muslim, you know you got a short period of time to put that body in the ground. And the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my entire life was to put my baby in the ground. So I'm here as your mother, and as your baby mama, and as your grandmother, and as your aunt, to tell you to put the guns down. I don't want you to die. I don't want you in prison. 26 days after my son died, his only child was born. My son named him. His name is Khalif, which means successor. My son was excited about his life. He wanted to be a father. He worked every day caring for mentally ill people. He was about to get married. And two boys beefing over a girl snatched my son's life. He was innocent. He had nothing to do with anything. He was sitting in the car waiting for his sister. And they walked up to the car and opened fire and put 4 bullets in my son. What these people are saying to you, you need to take back to your groups. You need to tell your young boys, you need to tell your old heads, you need to tell everybody that you associate with, because they are not playing. That was my son. That was my son. I've had years snatched from me. I can never touch him. I can never see him. The only way my grandson knows him is through pictures in the house. I don't want your children to lose you. I know some of y'all come from bad places. I know what it feels like to be hungry. But you can make a choice to do something different right here and right now. The choice is yours. You can make a choice to do something different, to be there for your children, to be there for your communities. You can make a choice. Because if not, they're going to make the choice for you. And you're not going to like the choices. They are not playing. You need to go back and you need to tell everybody, because they're not going to just come down on one of y'all. I'm telling you, they're coming down on all of y'all. And there will be compliance. There will be peace. The city has made up their mind that there will be peace. I'm looking at all these young men in this room, and you don't even realize the potential that you have at your fingertips to be leaders in your communities. You had a potential. All you got to do is make a choice. Because if you don't, one or two things is going to happen. They're going to be burying you, or you're going to jail. And we're talking about not just local police, FBI, feds, ATF. I wouldn't want the attention y'all got. I wouldn't want the attention y'all got. I can look at each and every one of y'all and tell y'all I love y'all because I love my son. I'm here for my son. I remember when my son died, about 100. My sons have always been really, look, I got deep ties to South Philadelphia. I'm a founding member of United Muslim Masjid at 15th and Webster. I ran the Alima Girl Scout troop there for 10 years. I lived on 30th Street between Tasker and Dickinson. My children went to Alcorn. I got roots in South Philly. I left South Philly when it got too bad. But it didn't make a difference in my life. So you can't lead a problem. You got to stay in your community and become a part of the solution. And you can be a part of the solution. I can say I love each and every one of y'all, man, because I love my boy. I wouldn't be here. I got a full-time job. 2, that I'm the boss of. But I don't want to happen to you what happened to my son. And until I have no breath left in my body, I'm gonna be trying to save y'all from yourselves. I promise you that.
There's a central theme in the message. So now we want you to hear from Brother Bill Cobb.
What's up, fellas? I'm Bill Cobb. I am currently the Executive Director of Urban Angel Foundation. Prior to that, I was the Vice President of Sales and Marketing on the largest telemarketing company on the East Coast. During that time also, I was an outreach coordinator for Men United for a Better Philadelphia. And just prior to that, I finished doing 6.5 years in prison for robbery, kidnapping, criminal conspiracy, and violation of Uniform Firearms Act. So I'm here today to show you that although we make some choices that have gotten us to places that we don't want to be, that if you do make an effort, it's possible. I am living and breathing truth that it's possible. The violence in the city of Philadelphia has to stop. We are the instigators of it, most likely to shoot someone or to be shot. You got to go back to your group, go back to your neighborhood, go back and tell your homies that they not playing. I saw the fidgeting in the audience when the feds got up here and told you about them quarters they giving out. They real. I spent time in the day room with people that look just like y'all. The difference to me when I see a bunch of black men assembled like this, or that there's an absence of uniforms right now. I see that we got on different color clothing, but up in the joint it's all the same. It's a hurt piece, fellas. I only did 6.5 when I was 23, and I didn't have children. I didn't have a wife. I didn't have a great job. I wasn't a popular member of my community. I couldn't go where I wanted to go during that time. And I did 6.5 years in prison, and it was the hardest thing that I ever did. I cried every night, and I'm not lying to you. When the lights go out, and then you in the cell with your cellie, who's a complete stranger, and you gotta go to the bathroom, it's a hurt piece. When your peoples come up to visit you, and then they leave that visiting room, and you don't want the food that they got in the cafeteria, and so you're trying to eat as many bags of chips or microwave sandwiches as you possibly can. It's a hurt piece, man. Ain't nothing popping about them prisons. Y'all already been identified by the feds. By the feds. Take it back to your group, because anything that somebody else does pertaining or relating to a shooting, you being held accountable for it. It's like growing up in that house with that grandma that beat everybody when they did something. Now you like that with law enforcement right now. And they come in to get you for anything that you do. Once that happens, child support, traffic ticket. And then the thing that she didn't say is that they not giving y'all no play neither. So you can't even roll over on your homie and get no rhythm. Take it back to your community. Take it back to your neighborhood and tell that they not playing no more. The gun play has to cease. I know it's hard. Trust me, I know it's hard. It's always going to be hard for us, though. I'm that guy that grew up without a father. Didn't meet him till I was 38. I'm that dude that had a mother addicted to alcohol. I'm that kid that was in school that was teased, laughed at, and ridiculed. Life was hard then, and I'm telling you that it's not any easier now. But now I got power that I didn't have before. I make the choices that determine the outcomes in my life. Nobody does that for me anymore. But if you don't take this back to your neighborhood, if you don't cease and desist to carry them hammers and to put something up in people, other people are going to make choices for you for a significant longer time than they made for me. Significantly longer. I did 6.5. Y'all gonna be looking at quarters, 50s. I was upstate, and she's so right. It's hard for them to come visit you upstate, but you think with you in Oklahoma, Nebraska, California, Texas, somebody coming to see you? And even if they are, you're not leaving with them when they get there. Take this back to your hood, to your group, and tell them what it's hitting for today. Because your failure to do so, you're going to pay the consequence for it. And the reason is because you are the leaders. You are running it. You're on the list that you simply don't want to be on. Take it from somebody that's been there and done that. Go back to your neighborhood. Tell jokers what it's hitting for. The gun violence in the city of Philadelphia has to cease. I see things a little differently now as a father and as a husband, as a respected member of my community. Now I care about the neighborhood. Now I want my daughter to go outside and be able to play, but I'm fearful of it because I know that work getting put in. But I'm very, very, very blessed and fortunate to be able to talk to you today and to be able to see that the city of Philadelphia and federal agencies are coming together to address this problem that we've had to live with too long. You don't have to live like this, man. It's difficult, but there are going to be some things that are introduced to you where if you hard enough and if you could play with a little pain and perform under a little pressure, you can change your life. I know what it's like not to dream. I know everybody in here wanted to be in the NBA. And when you found out that you wasn't good enough, you stopped dreaming because it's so difficult and it's so hard. And nobody else is doing it. You're doing what everybody else is doing. I get that. The price you're going to pay for that is the rest of your natural life in prison. We are so powerful. I never thought that I would be leading an organization that has 8,000 virtual members, that if I call together an event, 600 to 700 people would show up, that I would travel in circles of the most affluent business leaders in the city of Philadelphia and beyond, and be able to call upon politicians, state, local, and other than that. I'm traveling in groups and circles that I never imagined, man, because I began to dream again. Dream, brothers. It's bigger than your block, man. It's bigger than your block. And you can do it. I know ain't nobody looking like us that's doing it. I look like you. I'm no different than you. But for the grace of God, there go I. Well, this is God's grace being exacted on your lives today, gentlemen. Take it back to your group. Take your hammer, get it to wherever it's supposed to go so that you're not using it. Tell everybody else that got a hammer, listen, for that gunplay, they're giving out some crazy numbers. And our lives are going to be extremely hard as a result of it. Put your hammers down, fellas. Go back and tell everybody else to put them heat down. Y'all going to do some serious time. And you're going to be living a completely different life than you're living today if you fail to make the choice to do so. I'm going to be here for a little bit. If you need to holler, you can holler. If you need to holler later, you can holler later. But by all means, put your hammers down, man. Go back and tell everybody in the hood to put their hammers down. You don't want the consequences that are going to rain down upon your heads in the event that you don't do so. Be smart, fellas.
Well, now you've heard the message. And now the second part of the responsibility comes. You're empowered to make a difference, but truly you were never out of power. You've always had the power to control your own destiny. You've always had the power to make your community safer. You've always had the power to be an example to other young men and to young ladies. You've always had the power to be loved. It is now not about a choice. It's about a decision. It's about the road that you put yourself on. It's about a new day in South Philly, and you lead the charge. You are now the messenger. You now take the message out. You now stop the violence. You now stand before your peers and choose to do the decision that's made today. You may not even be worried about the time. You may not believe they'll do what they say. I've seen the skepticism in people's faces before. So let's put all that to the side. You don't want to hear a mother cry and feel the pain that you saw today. You don't want your mother, your grandmother, your aunt, your sister, your brother to feel that for you. You don't want. I've done funerals of young men of our race, of our crew, of our togetherness. 16 gone, 18 gone. I did a janaz, gone. Washed the body, gone. You are in danger of eliminating yourself. You are charged with making the difference. You are charged to go out and stop the violence. Not tomorrow, not the next day. You're charged today. The first day of the rest of your life was when you got up this morning. Now take the decision that you made to live this day and make sure you live every other day. It is not choice, brothers. It's what you do. Now I'm going to bring before you Brother Reuben Jones, who has some information for you.
So we've heard from law enforcement so far. They talked about the penalties that could be levied upon you. They told you basically that the violence in Philadelphia is going to end today and gave you a choice to do that voluntarily, or every face I see will end up in prison. You heard from community voices, a mother who lost her son to senseless violence, and I saw some of the faces. I saw some of the tears welling up. I saw a couple of y'all trying to look away, because everybody got a mother. Everybody got a grandmother, right? But I'm here to talk to you about help. Social services that you can access if you decide to change your life. If you decide to make a decision today, if you empower yourself to make a choice to do something different. My name is Reuben Jones, and I'll be coordinating the social services component of this initiative. What does that mean? It means we are partnered with at least 7 agencies who are committed, who are dedicated to helping you change your life. Every service that you can think of that you need, we will help you with. From GED to job training, drug and alcohol treatment, mental health treatment, housing assistance. We even plan on getting you guys mentors. And for those who are interested in entrepreneurship, no stone is left unturned for you. You heard the message over and over again. You have value. You're important. We care about you. But we need you to care about yourself. We need you to make a decision to make this a safer city. And that decision has to start today. because there won't be a second chance once you walk out that door. One of the things I want to point out, and I really want to stress, is that the message we share with you today is not just for you. It's not just for the people in this room. It's for the people on your block, the guys you run with, the guys you hang with. Everybody that you know that's picked up a gun or thought about picking up a gun or has a gun on them right now as we speak. We want you to take that message back. Later on, we're going to pass out some flyers. And I don't want you to just take one flyer. I want you to take 5, take 10, take as many as you need to go back to spread that message to your community, to your friends, to your homies. So that nobody can say I didn't know. So that nobody can say, how they do this to us? So that nobody can, mothers will be crying saying, I don't understand. I know that a lot of you may feel like you've been unfairly targeted. Okay. But how many times have you been given a chance? How many times have the community, social service, and criminal justice, law enforcement come together and say, you know what, let's find a solution? You heard the commissioner say, we don't want to lock y'all up. Never heard that before in my life. He wants you guys to live. He wants you to thrive in South Philly, in Philadelphia, as productive young men. But you can't do that by carrying guns. You can't do that by shooting people and killing people. A couple other points that I just want to make is that I don't want any confusion about what we're saying. We're not making any promises. We're not making any guarantees that we're going to get you a job or a house or whatever. We're saying we will help you. We're saying we will assist. We will provide every access to every resource you need. But it's not an exchange. It's not put down the guns, we're going to give you this. The emphasis is on you putting down the guns. And if you decide to get some help, we'll be here to help you. We'll be here to support you. We'll be here to lend you assistance. And my job, my sole responsibility is to help you. My obligation is to find resources that you need so that you can make the choices to help make the city safer. To make the choices you need to be there for your family, to raise your children, to be a productive member of your community. So whatever that may be, there's no limit to the resource that I'm personally willing to go to get for you, or this agency is willing to make accessible to you. I know that for a lot of people, change is hard. It's hard to start your life over from scratch, start from the bottom. I know because I had to do it. Like Mr. Cobb said, when I was younger, 22 to be exact, I made a lot of bad choices. And I ended up in prison for 15 years because of robbery and aggravated assault that I committed. And I didn't have anybody standing in front of me saying, I want to give you a chance. I didn't have anybody making an offer to say, stop doing what you're doing and we'll help you have a better life. But you got that opportunity today. And I'm here to help you when you make that choice. I'm here because I don't want to see another 22-year-old do 15 years in prison, or a 30-year-old, or a 35-year-old. I don't want to see you guys get those numbers that the federal prosecutor was talking about, because you might not know this, but I know that it's real. I know that there are 16-year-old men who got convicted and tried as an adult and got a life sentence and never even had relations with a woman, who never lived their life, never even went to a prom. Those memories, those opportunities are gone forever because of one bad decision, because that's all it takes. So I want to take an opportunity. I don't know if we're going to give out the flyers now, but what I do want you to know, you're going to have one point of contact for the help that you need, for the help that you want. There's not going to be a line. There's not going to be a waiting list. There's not going to be a middleman. You want to talk to me directly. The number on that flyer is my number. When you dial it, I'm going to answer. And if I don't, leave a message and I will, return the call ASAP. But I want you to know that you have been prioritized in this city to get the services that you need to change your life. All you have to do is take advantage of that opportunity. The last point I want to make is that the violence has to stop, gentlemen. And it has to stop today. And it starts with you. There's help for people who want it. And not just for you, but for everybody in your group, on your block, in your community. If anybody, and this message is not just for you guys that are here, if anybody in your neighborhood want help, feel free to give them the number, feel free to give them the flyer. Feel free to call them, or tell them to call me. And we'll do everything we can. So we'll be hanging around afterwards to pass out the flyers and get the information to you. It's a 24-hour number. We're going to be available for you, period, to help you. So take that message back to your friends, your squad, your homies, your brothers, and let them know that there's a new day in Philadelphia, but there's help for people who want it. Thank you.
Law enforcement, you are excused. Our community voices, you're excused.